Get this, 10 to 15%. That's the chance the airline seat you've just booked and paid for is now going to be sold to someone else. So I'm exposing the top airlines who do it, the tricks they all use to get out of paying, and how to stop it happening to you. So come on, let's do it. Now, to beat the airlines at their own game, you need to understand 3 terms that they use to hide exactly what's going on. And the first one is overselling. This is pure greed by them. It is. It's pure greed by the airlines because they play a high-stakes gamble with your flight and your holiday. And they'll intentionally sell up to 115 tickets for every 100 seats on the plane. Selling your seat again, that's right, your seat again, and hoping you either turn up late or you don't even show up at all. Now, second one is volunteering. So when the airline gamble fails, the plane is overbooked, they'll first ask for volunteers. And this is where they'll try to bribe you with the absolute minimum perks to give up your seat. And they'll make it as though you're almost getting something for nothing. And the third one, well, if there ain't enough volunteers, then they have bumping, officially called denied boarding. And essentially this is where you pay the price, not them. No, you pay the price, not the airline, because you now, even though you've bought a ticket, you won't be allowed to board the plane. So in the case of a holiday, you're going to lose the first 2 days of that, all because the airline lets someone else sit in your seat that you've already paid for. So, coming back to volunteering, if the plane is overbooked and they ask for volunteers, what do you actually get? Well, unfortunately, there is no legal minimum requirement that they have to give you. So it's really going to be the lowest they can get away with it, isn't it? Because they'll think, all right, you may have a moan, but you'll just accept it and then walk off. And I've split the airlines into what I call 3 different groups. And the first is we have what I call the Perk Players. And you've got Aegean and British Airways. Essentially, these are the 2 easiest to deal with and the fairest on average. Aegean will offer you £75 to £125 in vouchers. And remember that word, vouchers, because that's a key theme through all of this. But they'll go higher if you stand your ground, so do that. Now, British Airways treats overbooking as almost a daily service. And they'll usually expect you to take around £150 to £200 or even 20,000 Avios points just to get you out of the way and resolve things quickly. And next we've got the voucher specialists. That's EasyJet, Jet2 and Vueling. Now, EasyJet are known as the voucher masters. Push them for the automated offer, which can go as high as £250. Jet2, well, they claim they don't overbook, but they sort of get around that by swapping the plane with a smaller one just to save money. And they'll expect you to take up to £200 in vouchers and walk off nicely. And then there's Vueling. They'll often wait till almost the last second to call for volunteers, just so you haven't got much time to argue and you feel under pressure. It's usually up to about £170. But watch out though, their vouchers usually expire in 12 months. And finally, there are what I like to call the tough negotiators, the hardest to deal with, the ones that will cause you the most problems. And that is TUI, Ryanair and Wizz. TUI, although relatively easy to deal with, can be the most stressful because you've most likely booked the entire holiday with them. But that gives you massive leverage. So if you are going to volunteer, don't just take up to the usual £200 in holiday credit, vouchers, demand a hotel upgrade, free excursions, private transport to and from the airport. Use your imagination. And then you've got Ryanair and Wizz. They're, surprise, surprise, are going to be the hardest to deal with. Ryanair will stick to the bare minimum they can get away with. Another surprise. Wizz, the complaint king, often will offer you the lowest amount of vouchers possible, up to around about £170. Now, obviously, what you're offered can vary, but remember this, as I said earlier, if you volunteer to give up your seat or seats, you are not legally entitled to cash. The deal is, what you end up with, is whatever you and the airline agree on. But what if you don't volunteer? What if you stand your ground and they bump you anyway, stop you from boarding? Well, that's the moment the law is now on your side, not the airline. However, another surprise, they'll usually try to give you a voucher and hope you walk away anyway. Don't take it, whatever they say, because not only is the airline now legally obligated to provide food, drinks, phone calls, emails, hotel room and transport to get you there and even back again, they must also pay you cold hard cash on top of that. And that ranges from 220 quid to 520 pounds, depending on how many miles the flight is. And oh yeah, that's per person per seat. Now, if that's a weapon you're really glad to know and have, do us a huge favour and hit that like button, because it tells the algorithm the information given you here is actually useful and it helps us to reach more people. Now, the thing to remember is with the £220 to £520 cash, there's a sneaky catch, a big but that the airline has on their side. They always have something, don't they? And that is, if the airline gets you to your destination on a new flight within 4 hours, unfortunately, they are legally allowed to slash that payout by 50%. Now, while that cash is great, no one actually wants to be stuck at the airport, do they, when you should be at on a beach or in a bar. So before I give you my 4 top tips to make sure you're not the one or one's left behind, make sure you're subscribed with the bell on. We're constantly digging into all of these loopholes and finding videos for you so you don't have to. Anyway, here are my 4 top tips to reduce it happening to you. All of them which I genuinely use every single time. And firstly, check in the moment it opens online. You see, most airlines will follow a last in, first out rule. So if you're the last to check in, you're going to be automatically at the top of the list to be bumped. Simple as that. Second one, get a seat assignment. If your boarding pass says seat assigned at gate, or even worse, it's harder to find, has the code GTE on it, that's a massive red flag. And it means your flight is full and you're already at the standby list before you even arrive at the airport. So, next one, third one. Join a loyalty club if they've got one. You see, airlines rarely bump their members because they want to keep your repeat business. And lastly, fourth one, don't be the last person in the boarding queue. If they've oversold just by one single seat, guess what? Person at the very back of the line is going to be the easiest to stop, isn't it? Because everyone else has already gone. Anyway, I want to hear from you. Have you ever been bumped? Did you take the voucher? What did you get? Or did you hold out for the cash? Let me know, as always, your stories in the comments below and I'll join you in the conversation. So there you have it. Thanks so much for watching to the end. I really appreciate it when you do. And I guess, as always, I'll see you in the next one. Make sure you're subscribed with the bell on. We're constantly digging into all of these loopholes and finding videos for you so you don't have to.